China is destabilizing the South China Sea region by pursuing territorial disputes with other nations, the U.S. Defense Secretary, Chuck Hagel, has said. Speaking at an international security conference in Singapore on Saturday, Hagel said the U.S. would not look the other way when countries such as China try to restrict navigation or ignore international rules and standards. In recent months, China has undertaken destabilizing, unilateral actions asserting its claims in the South China Sea, he said. But China's President, Xi Jinping, played down the threat posed by running disputes in the area. "We will never stir up trouble, but will react in the necessary way to the provocations of countries involved," Xinhua news agency quoted Xi as saying after meeting the Malaysian Prime Minister, Najib Razak, on Friday. For the second year in a row, Hagel used the podium at the Shangri-La conference to accuse China of cyber-spying against the U.S. While this has been a persistent complaint by the U.S., his remark came less than 2 weeks after it charged 5 Chinese military officers with hacking into American companies to steal trade secrets. The Chinese, in response, suspended participation in a U.S.-China cyber working group and released a report that said the U.S. was conducting unscrupulous cyber espionage. Noting the suspension, Hagel said in his speech that the U.S. would continue to raise cyber issues with the Chinese, because dialogue is essential for reducing the risk of miscalculation and escalation in cyberspace. In a string of remarks aimed directly at China, Hagel said the U.S. opposed any nation's use of intimidation or a threat of force to assert territorial claims. All nations of the region, including China, have a choice: to unite and recommit to a stable regional order, or to walk away from the commitment and risk the peace and security that has benefited millions of people throughout the Asia-Pacific, and billions of people around the world, he said. China and Japan have been at odds over uninhabited islands in the East China Sea that are controlled by Japan but claimed by both. The U.S. has declined to take sides on the sovereignty issue but has made clear it has a treaty obligation to support Japan. And the U.S. has also refused to recognize China's declaration of an air defense zone over a large swath of the East China Sea, including the disputed islands. Hagel's remarks drew an immediate challenge from Major General Yao Yunzu of China's People's Liberation Army, who questioned if the U.S. and its allies followed international law and consulted with others when they set up air defense zones.